Let's go out and get some questions from Fansville. We'll take a look and see what we can do as far as answering your questions. Okay, so here we go. We got a few chosen here. This one comes in from Cody. He says, can things line up and Ohio State still make the CFP? Maybe strength of schedule and a one loss. That would be interesting. I do think that there is a narrow path for Ohio State. It involves a bit of chaos. Let's go back to the top 25, and I'll kind of like start knocking off some scenarios. So the first thing that I think Ohio State would need to happen is that the top three teams that are there now, I think, need to win. So Georgia, Michigan, and Washington need to win. Okay, I believe that Louisville needs to beat Florida State, which would kind of knock them out. Oregon would have lost to Washington, which would kind of knock them out. You don't want to get into a debate with Texas, so you need Oklahoma State to beat them, and then Georgia will have beaten Alabama. And at that point, I think it's actually pretty plausible that Ohio State would slide into that fourth spot right there. So again, the scenario looks like this. Georgia beats Alabama, Michigan beats Iowa, Washington beats Oregon, Louisville beats Florida State, and Oklahoma State beats Texas. In that scenario, I do believe that the Buckeyes would be in the college football playoff for the second straight year, even though they were not Big Ten champs. Good question. Good question. And I know it's a narrow path. You need some upsets there, but it is a small path. All right, what does Florida State have to prove in the ACC championship? Connor, I actually think quite a bit. It's pretty apparent to those of us that really cover the sport that currently Florida State's not one of the four best teams in the country, not with Tate Rodemaker in there at quarterback. I remember they barely got to like just under 230 total yards against a 5-7 Florida team last week, even with some of those great players on the outside like Keon Coleman. So they need to prove that they can still be a dominant team even without Jordan Travis, or else it's pretty obvious that they're not one of the four best. Now, if they want to go just on resume, if they want to go just on deserving it because they're undefeated and a Power 5 champ, no, that's fair and that's fine, and I'm not going to argue against that. But as far as what they need to prove to have any legitimate shot in the playoff or to prove that they really are one of the four best, they need to be dominant against Louisville even without Jordan Travis at quarterback. All right, let's get out here and catch one more. Jack says, do you think that eventually we will see a 16-team playoff or even more? I hope not, Jack. I actually think that would be really, really bad for the sport. Okay, so first and foremost, a 12-team playoff expands the meaning of importance in college football, which I think is important. However, a 12-team playoff also allows you to have 4 byes at the top. So you're incentivizing the best teams to play hard throughout the rest of the regular season to win a conference championship. If you don't have those byes, then you don't have that incentive for the best teams in the country who will just shut it down in the last couple of weeks. So in order to make the last games mean something, and every game means something, you not only need to incentivize teams to get into the playoffs, but you also need to incentivize the best teams to play hard in order to get that bye. And then in the future, I'm hoping that even in the second round, we go back to campus, we get off of neutral sites, and then those teams that get a bye, that are the 4 best teams, 4 best champions in the country, guess what? They would have home games. So that's why I don't want to go to 16. I want to remain at 12. You got to incentivize those teams to play hard at the top. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.